Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because right here you can see another rejection from the Fibonacci golden pocket sitting between 62,000 US dollars and 62.7k. So this continues to be a strong level of resistance, as I warned about in yesterday's video as well. However, right now in the short term, we actually fell below the 0.5 level, sitting at 59.5k. However, as you can see from this candle right here, we basically closed right on top of it, and we still have 3.5 hours left to go on this new 4-hourly candle. So therefore, it is still possible that we hold this as a level of support. But of course, the lower down we go on this 4-hour time frame, the less likely it becomes that we actually hold this as a level of support. You could look lower to this 0.382 Fibonacci level, sitting at 57,000 US dollars. Though besides that, if you take a look at the 1-day time frame for Bitcoin, this looks like a clear rejection from this big level of resistance that I talked about in yesterday's video as well, sitting from 60,000 US dollars all the way up to 62.4k. Now, in terms of support to the downside, you could look lower to this level right here, sitting from 58,000 all the way down to 56,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price as a big level of support that potentially the Bitcoin price can bounce from. But one thing you should keep in mind here is that all of this can change literally tomorrow, because tomorrow we have the unemployment data coming out, and at least in the way I personally see it, the unemployment data has played a big factor in the recession narrative that was prevalent on this move to the downside. So for example, if tomorrow we see higher than expected unemployment rates, this could send the Bitcoin price down much lower, because it would play into that recession narrative once again. So therefore it would not be weird to see another move to the downside. Although in the case that the unemployment data comes in much lower than expected, then I think this could send the Bitcoin price higher in that case, because potentially this can make investors think that the recession narrative is not as likely to continue, and therefore they are more likely to buy back in or open long positions, and this would send the Bitcoin price higher. But of course, all of this is not financial advice. I'm simply telling you how I am going to interpret the data tomorrow. Moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, first of all on this 1-week time frame, where right now you can see a lot of liquidity piling up to the upside of people that shorted this move to the downside here. However, there's also quite a bit of liquidity to the downside, sitting as low as about 56.5k. So potentially you could see the Bitcoin price grabbing this liquidity, especially if we also get more bearish news tomorrow. However, in the case that we get bullish news tomorrow, then potentially we could be grabbing this liquidity at 62.1k. So make sure to look out for these two big levels of liquidity as well. And zooming out to the 1-month time frame, you can see that there is quite a bit of liquidity to the downside here, sitting as low as 54.2k, with about $1 billion worth of long positions that would get liquidated if the Bitcoin price reaches this level. However, most of the liquidity is to the upside, sitting at 70.4k, roughly speaking. And in the case that you don't know, typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. And on the 1-month time frame, most of the liquidity is in fact to the upside. So I do think that at some point we are going to see Bitcoin grabbing this liquidity at 70k. One caveat to this though is that we actually keep trading inside this descending channel, because in the case that we lose this as a level of support, then yes, I do think there will be more bearish price action to be expected in the short term. Now, lastly, taking a look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today. Yesterday, we saw another net inflow of about $40 million, which is again relatively small, because on average, the Bitcoin ETFs are buying about $120 million worth of Bitcoin every single weekday. And to me, this just signals that the market is being kind of patient here, waiting for that unemployment data to come out. And I do think that after the unemployment data, we are going to either see some big inflows or some big outflows. Now, one last message for the short-term traders that are watching this video: make sure to watch out with high leverage guys, especially around the time of the unemployment data coming out, because I am expecting a lot of volatility. I think a lot of traders and investors are looking out for this data on what is going to happen. So as soon as this data comes out, I think we are going to see a big repricing depending on how people interpret the data. So of course, this presents opportunity for us traders to go long or short. However, if you are using too much leverage, the odds are very high that you are actually going to get stopped out of your trade before your idea actually plays out, because you would get a big wick down or a big wick to the upside moving against you, and therefore you would get stopped out, right? So be careful, especially at the exact time of the announcement, guys. We saw it today as well. We saw it yesterday as well. On these announcements, there's massive volatility. So if you are using like 50x leverage or something like that, or even worse, 100x leverage, then obviously this is going to be extremely risky. So be cautious and manage your risk as always, guys. Don't forget to use a stop loss as well. Either way, I really look forward to tomorrow to get a better picture of what we can expect in terms of the momentum over the next couple of days or potentially even weeks, as we have more clarity about what the macro situation is here. So this has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again. Don't forget to come check out the Road to 1 Million Discord community. The link is again in the video description, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.